Hello internet folk. Today I'm going to be talking about the Nifty 50 and the pancake lens, both from Canon. I hope you're doing amazing today. Let me know down in the comments below. They are the 50mm and the 24mm respectively. They are a fantastic way to up your photography game, but not empty out the bank account, with each of these lenses being less than $200. Let's start with the 50mm STM. The 50mm is the bigger of the two, both in physical size and reach. It has an aperture of f1.8, which means it lets in a lot of light. It has STM motors that autofocus quite quickly. Overall feel. It has a predominantly plastic build with the connection point being made of metal. It's not the cheap kind of plastic, it is quite substantial. It fits in your hand quite nicely. Build quality. It feels super compact and light, yet durable. Canon, you clever dogs, you've done it again. Image quality. The image coming out of this lens is super sharp. It has an astonishing amount of resolving power. Now, this being a 50mm, it's not great for filming yourself, as it has to be quite far away. Now, if you are running a setup like I am, where I have a 3.5mm extension running up to a boom pole that is expertly put out of frame, then you might be able to get away with it. I have a 10-foot long extension cable, but if you're using a 50mm, you might need a longer one. The autofocus is pleasantly quick. It is not incredibly loud. Low light performance. The 50mm f1.8 is quite good in low light performance, as it has an aperture of 1.8, which means that it lets in a lot of light. This is my go-to for astrophotography or nighttime photography of animals that I can get relatively close to, like flying squirrels. Best case use, in my opinion. I think that the best case use for this lens is portraits. Video isn't the best, as I mentioned before. With it being 50mm, that's quite a long focal range for recording videos of yourself. However, if you're using wireless lavs or any other type of external audio, or like I said, you are running an extension like I am, but now I have cables running the length of the room. If you are doing those things, then the 50mm can work for recording headshots like this one. Now this is the actual focal range of the 50mm f1.8 on my crop sensor 90D. Now that I've talked about the 50mm f1.8, let's dive into the Canon EFS 24mm with a much wider focal range. This lens is perfect for recording yourself, especially if you have a flippy screen like I have on my 90D. With the STMs, or stepping motors, the lens allows you to use autofocus. You will be able to use the flippy screen while still being in arm's length reach from your camera. And the 24mm will allow you to record yourself for one of the most important types of media, vlogging. Now, this lens does have an aperture of 2.8, which is a little bit higher than the 50mm, yes. But 2.8 is still relatively low. This lens has an aperture of 4.5 at the lowest. And the kit lens that I'm currently recording on has an aperture of 4 or higher. Build quality. Now, this lens is also made of plastic, but it's not the cheap kind of plastic. With this one also having a metal connection point, it doesn't feel very cheap. It has a substantial amount of weight to it. Overall feel. The overall feel is fantastic. It can be stuffed in a tiny pocket of your bag. Doesn't take up a lot of space. Image quality. Now, this lens being an EFS means that it is a crop sensor lens, which is fine. My 90D being a crop sensor, it does work. But for a full frame camera, you're kind of missing out a little bit. The images coming out of this are quite sharp. With the 24mm, you can get quite wide distance. Now, this is what the actual focal range of this lens is on my Canon 90D. Autofocus. Now, the autofocus on this lens can be a bit sluggish at times, but it's still very quiet. And for talking heads like this, you're not really moving too much, so it's fine. Low light performance. This lens does okay for low light. I wouldn't exactly use this for astrophotography. The 2.8 is a bit high for pitch black. Best case use, in my opinion. This lens is really quite good for portraits. You can get nice up close, maybe doing portraits with someone that you've known for a little bit, and hopefully they've showered recently, because with this one, they're gonna smell if they haven't. You will be close enough to communicate, and yet far enough away for them to still be comfortable. I bought these lenses to upgrade from my kit lens, which is an 18 to 55 millimeter f4.8 to 5.6. Now, this is a zoom lens, which means that it's not super sharp, and it's a kit lens, which means that it's cheap, which again means that it's not super sharp. But it has a fantastic zoom range, and it's where I got my start doing photography. Now, it is a beginner lens, so it isn't the sharpest nor the best well-built. This is our pet raccoon with the 24 millimeter prime versus the 18 to 55 millimeter at 24 millimeters. This is our pet raccoon with the 50 millimeter prime versus the 18 to 55 millimeter at 50 millimeters. This lens feels a bit light, if I'm being honest with you. It does feel a bit cheap. This lens, being a zoom lens, does affect my opinion on where it fits in my lens arsenal. If you want something in between 24 and 50, this lens works quite well. If you want an 18 millimeter, this is also a good option. If you're looking for an astrophotography lens, this ain't it, chief. With the lowest option at 18 millimeters being f3.5, this lens, in my opinion, does not gather enough light to be an adequate astrophotography lens. For low light and astrophotography, this shouldn't be your first pick. I use the Canon 50mm f1.8 for low light and astrophotography because of the wide aperture. But where this lens shines is its cheap price and versatility. In conclusion, each lens has its purpose, and each lens is for a specific task. And if you need that specific task done, then this is the lens for you. So watch more reviews on them and find out more about the lenses before you purchase them. If you want the versatility of the 50mm and the 24mm, but you're on a budget, this is definitely a decent choice. I have used it for a long time, and I continue to use it. It serves me well. I hope that you enjoyed today's content, and I'll see you guys next Tuesday morning. Have an amazing rest of